All right, guys. Welcome to Rainmakers Weekly. This is our first official podcast. I'm Dennis Kosiski. We have Thomas Powers here. You're live with us right now. Basically, what this is going to do is we're going to tell you everything about NFTs and DraftKings and why it's so important to understand what this is now. Get on the train now before everything starts taking off. If you're a fan of crypto and fan of NFTs and you're a fan of DraftKings, if you're not, I don't even know why you're here. But all of that together, okay, that's what this is. You're basically putting NFTs and DraftKings fantasy football and you're slapping them together. And that's what this is all about.
So yeah, and these babies are going on the Polygon network. So any of you Polygon-matic fans out there, that's one more gust of wind in your sails if you're bullish on that one. So Zed Run was the first one. I don't know how that one's doing, but now we're here. DraftKings is a very real thing. So that snowball's rolling downhill whether you like it or not.
That's
So as far as football goes, Dennis, it's week 7. And so we'll probably start top of the show with a stardom sit-em, just to give everybody a little briefing for the showdown RMF. That's Rainmakers fantasy lineups in the Thursday night football game, Saints at Cardinals. And then some of the other topics I'm going to touch on is Washington offense gets a split test. Taylor Heineke mans the helm of the Commanders in Week 7 at home against Green Bay, who's coming off a brutal home loss to the Jets. Hayden Hurst, Cincinnati goes to Atlanta. Does Hayden Hurst get a revenge game? Cincinnati's burgeoning defense hosts Hurst's former team, the Falcons. Say that 5 times fast. Unlikely QB points rankings. The who's who and who? And hold your horses on the New York Jets. Spoiler alert, they got some real games coming up in their schedule. They get Buffalo twice, a bye in New England twice. So
got
get your
it.
popcorn ready. It's time for Rainmakers Weekly, a Money Ballers production. So Dennis, let's get into this Saints Cards game that's coming up tomorrow night or
Let's
tonight,
do it.
depending
Let's
on when
do
this
it.
gets uploaded. Maybe both,
Exactly.
guys.
All right. Literally today, or basically Thursday, however that works, is going to be a great game. I don't know if you've. I'm sure you know. I don't know. I'm sure you've watched it. The last 5 of 6 Thursday night football games has been anything but a barn burner. Everything's went under for those out there who understand what that is. Basically, just a whole bunch of defense. Now, I'm going to touch on why that is important, especially with Rainmakers, because if you're here to learn things that are just not on the internet, or if they are, they're just thrown all over the place, and you want it to be corralled to make it make sense, okay? So, first off, if you believe it's going to be a high-scoring game, first off, it's in a dome, right? So we're in Arizona, so it's in a dome. D. Hopkins is back. And Lattimore is out.
Ooh.
I don't know what else to tell you, but I'm going to let you know right now, every single one of my captain spots are going to have D-Hop in it. Just letting you know. Not another option. Not thinking about anything else. Murray's not going up there. It's D-Hop.
So yeah, depending on how you want to frame this, it's kind of like somebody just pulled the new McLaren into up in front of Kyler's house, and the police are on lunch break. So he gets what?
That's it.
D Hop. He's got everybody. There's Hollywood Browns on the team, but Hollywood's not going to be there tomorrow, obviously. So he gets D Hop, AJ Green, Robbie Anderson, fresh from the Carolina Panthers. And then, Ertz is probably going to be jogging around an empty middle of the field waving at him, while D Hop and the other guys are 80 yards down the field, catching bombs. That's my
Absolutely.
guess. I mean, if you don't take the new cars out for a spin, somebody's getting fired. If you're sitting there plodding along with Connor and Edmonds when you've got like 7 stud wide receivers buzzing around on the field, somebody's getting fired. And by somebody, I mean Cliff Kingsbury. So we should have our first Hold My Beer Thursday night football of the season. I think the most excitement we've had is George Pickens's tip of the cap to OBJ catch in week
That's it.
2 against the Browns, which was the only time the Thursday night football score has gone over the Vegas line this year. So
That's it. That's right. And for those that watched the very end of that game, touchdown with 2 seconds left. What? Anyway, so that was what, week 2, right?
yep. And I'm
All
I'm,
right.
I'm looking at something now that caught my interest earlier. So I'm gonna read you. No, hang on. I'm gonna have to hold this. I'm gonna hold this back for a minute. I've got to find like the right stat. I
Okay.
found something that just wrinkled my brain earlier.
Got it. So if we put Hopkins in the captain,
Which
and
yeah,
actually, since we're talking about this now, and there's really not another podcast. There's not another podcast out there. Speaking about how the numbers work and the structure and all that. All right. The lower addition you have in the event of a tie, and I'm looking at you, whoever's watching this, in the event of a tie, the lower overall addition added up together gets that place, whether it's first, second, third, 10th, whatever.
So can you go to
Interesting.
that on your screen, like where pretend you're going to buy a card real quick and just sort of look, just break this thing down for
Absolutely.
all the people to, because we've been so in it for the past
We have.
few days, weeks that we might just zip out in front of some people here. So yeah, you click on what's number one. It said George Kittle.
Yeah, George Kittle right there.
All right, and if you maybe type search for like a specific player, and it gives all the different cards for that player, and you can sort of tell us about how the numbers work and how many there's
Sure.
1,200 of this one and 200 of this one and this and that.
Absolutely. Well, let's do Jamar Chase, who absolutely went off last week. Oh, well, then have it. I know. I mean, obviously that's his name, but apparently you got to put a apostrophe.
Yeah,
Okay.
just type Chase,
All right.
and it should suggest
go.
him to you.
All right. So this is all of Jamar Chase's options. Okay, of cards to buy. Okay. Or no, just not cards. These are sets. Yeah, excuse me. These are the sets. Okay. Now let's say, for instance, so you go to the very top. Well, you know what? We'll start with core. All right. So let's say you go with a core momentum set.
Core's
We'll
the
open this
lowest.
up. Okay. And let's say, for instance, okay, I want to get one of these cards. Then I can go down here and I can see everything of this momentum set, what is for sale. Okay. Now you can also sort. Where's this sort at? Because normally I do this from my phone. So.
Oh, it's top right. Under the green bar, you've got newly listed, and you can do sort price low.
Show me.
Right above the top right Jamar Chase NFT, below the green bar.
I'm not seeing that.
So look at Jamar Chase 2022 Superstar Set Core. That's $12.20.
Oh, it's not even showing that screen. Hold on.
Uh
Oh, it opened up the other screen.
oh.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Right here?
Yeah. Yep, that's it.
Okay. All right, so we're going to sort by addition low.
Oh, so it gave you a whole
Okay.
different tab, and you were looking at something completely different than what we saw.
Correct.
Okay, right. Okay, cool.
That's right. Yep. All right. So if you wanted to just go all out, you could get number one. And I guess it's not
One of one.
Yeah, it's not showing the screen I'm looking at right here.
Oh wow.
Give me a second.
So that's the first one is $22,000, and that's a one of one Jamar Chase Elevate set. Oh, now I just see you.
Hmm. Okay, let's go to Chrome tab.
The while Dennis is figuring that out, guys, we got core down here, and then the cores are like a dark grayish silver, kind of like a Raiders colors. And then you go up a level, and there's like that Seahawk in your face green, which is rare. And then above rare, there's elite, which I believe is blue. And then above elite is the legendary, which is gold. And then above legendary is rainmakers, which is the daddy of all the cards. And those are usually in the tens of thousands. I think I've even seen one in the hundreds of thousands if you're going to get someone who is a superstar. And what is the point of that, you ask? Well, if you play with $10 cards, you can win $10,000. And if I'm imagining, I don't know from personal experience yet, I think if you played with a $30,000 card, you could probably win millions of dollars. That's really the only justification I would know, unless it entitles you to free tickets and nachos for life at the team of your choice.
So you should be seeing my screen here.
Yep, Jamar Chase 2022
It
Momentum
shows.
Set Core in big letters.
Got it. All right. So over here, you can show 92 listings. You can kind of see them all.
Mm-hmm.
Right here is where it goes through, where you can actually choose it. So
Yep.
if I wanted to, for this core set, I wanted to look for the lowest edition.
Can you sort by? Yep. Okay, cool.
Right here. That's what I was looking
I've never
for right
done
there.
that.
So,
Actually, scroll through all of them and just look for the lowest number every time that I've done it so far.
oh, hey, well, this is why we're doing
Like a
this, right? So
noob.
everybody can kind of learn. That's
Yeah,
right.
baby.
So right here we have edition number 32 on the Momentum set for $40. So if you wanted to go with the absolute lowest edition of Momentum for Jamar Chase, you're looking at $40. Now, for those that are new to Rainmakers, and it's completely great if you are, listen, it's only been around for this is going on the 7th week now starting. The way it works is these are NFTs, so these are non-fungible tokens. When you purchase one of these, you have them. As long as you have them. Now, what's good about this is Rainmakers are free contests. You use your NFTs and you can profit from it. Whether it's more NFTs that you earn, cash that you earn, um, or specialized contests or events, all different types of things, and we're going to get into all of that. So, let's say, for instance, I wanted to do Jamar Chase for edition number 32 for $40. I'd hit buy now, and that would be an NFT that I can use in a Rainmakers contest. Pretty awesome.
Right. And so, like,
So,
for example, if Jamar Chase costs $16 and you have him, you use him the first year, you've paid $1 per time to use him, essentially, right? And then every next season that he has, you're basically just playing with house money. And you can just
that's
keep
right.
on winning. So if you play your cards right, literally, yeah, you can come out pretty clean.
Literally.
Literally.
Literally, yes. And look, so you got blockchain Polygon. That's Matic.
That's it, baby.
For those who know what's going on with everything, just letting you know, this is a big thing. DraftKings is the official, the official betting sponsor of the NFL,
Mm-hmm.
right? And Polygon is where these NFTs are. If that tells you anything of where everything's going with crypto and everything that everybody's been talking about, this is important to know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So that's how you purchase the NFTs. Now, again, we are new to this, so I've got to get it all down with the flow of the system here. So give me just 1 second. I'm going to share my screen back to where I was. Got to figure that part
Got a
out.
big Dennis face. And while you're doing that, I found my brain wrinkling stat that I like to share with anybody, and feel free to play along at home. I'm going to read you a list of names, and you tell me what category or what umbrella or what these guys have in common, okay? Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, Jimmy Garoppolo, Justin Herbert, Derek Carr, Ryan Tannehill. What do they have in common?
Do they have more interceptions than they do touchdowns?
No.
That would be kind of ridiculous, right?
So what this caught my eye. I was just, perusing the waiver wire this morning, and like first thing when I rolled out of bed, pretty much. And these guys all rank below Daniel Jones in the last
Wow.
4 weeks of fantasy football. Yeah, and you
Wow.
know whose name is above Daniel Jones? This is even more brain wrinkling, or whatever you want to. This flummoxed, flabbergasted, and stymied me. Guess what name I see directly above Daniel Jones? I'm ranking by fantasy points.
Geno
Marcus
Smith.
Mariota.
Get out of here.
And Geno Smith is, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 above him. Geno Smith is number 5 in the NFL. He's behind Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, and Jalen Hurts. And then Geno Smith is next. Geno Smith is in front of Lamar Jackson, Tom Brady, Kirk Cousins, Kyler Murray, Matt Ryan, Trevor Lawrence. And then there's Marcus Mariota. So just to give you an idea of how the quarterback play is shaking up this year, that's your grain of salt for the week.
It's wild. It's wild, man. It's wild. So, uh, Tom actually hinted to the way it worked with the tiers. So it starts off at core, which is the lowest. Okay, um, and then you have rare, and then you have elite, and then you have legendary, and then you have rainmaker. Now, this is important to know. There's different types of contests. So I'm going to go back to the lobby here. All right. There's different type of contests for whatever your cards are. And obviously, if you have Rainmaker and Legendary and Elites, well, you can win a lot more money. Okay. So let's say you go all the way down to the bottom right here for tomorrow. And you have 3 Legendaries and 1 Rainmaker. Okay. For tomorrow night's game. First prize is $25,000. Wow, right? Same thing with here. If you have 4 elite, 2 elite, 2 legendary, first prize is $3,000, and it just kind of goes. All right, guys. So what we were talking about is the importance between like the levels, right? So you have core, you have rare, which is the green R. You have E, which is elite, which is the blue E, and then you have L, which is L for legendary. That's the yellow L, and then you have uh, Rainmaker, which is the blue, yellow R. Yep, right there. Okay. All right. So if you're just starting off, which I'm just gonna let you know, I was right, and I purchased a lot of core. I won some rare because that just kind of happens. Okay. I purchased a few rare because it made sense. Um, but for the most part, and I'll show you my cards in a second, I have core. Okay. So the contest that I would be entering, and I'm sure most of you will be entering as well, is going to be for just tomorrow, is going to be this one right here. So we're going to go through here, and I'll kind of show you how I'm going to set up one of my lines and we'll talk about it. What makes the most? Not this one. This one right here. What makes the most sense? First place gets $1,000 cash. I mean, hey man, 1,000 is 1,000, and it costs you nothing other than actually purchasing the NFT and getting into it. So especially if you know about football and you're listening to this podcast to learn about the NFTs with it, you put it all together, all of it's going to make sense. Okay. So now, Captain, we've already discussed. It's basically a free square, in my opinion. DeAndre Hopkins. Okay. In this particular case, I'm just going to use core 9. That's fine. All right. He's a free square. He's going to crush it. There's no doubt about it. He's been out for 6 weeks. He's going to absolutely go off. All right. Now, the question is, who do you put in the other 3 squares? Also, most of the field's going to have DeAndre Hopkins as a captain. So it's all going to be, oh yeah, for sure. It's all going to be the other 3 flexes. Does it make sense? Who are they going to be? How do I, ensure I'm going to win? So I'm going to tell you something that maybe you don't know. And I found this out just because I was messing around with it probably, I guess, week 4. You can have multiple defensive players, and it's not necessarily the player that you're putting on there. You are putting in their defense. So if you think the Cardinals defense is going to go absolute ham tomorrow, then you would choose 3. Well, you have to have at least 1 Saints in there. All right, you have to have 1 from the opposite team, at least. So you would choose 2 Cardinals defensive players, which are probably like $1, and 1 Saints player that you think is going to have a great game, or if you think it's going to be a defensive game. So let's say, for instance, you played this every Thursday night football game. The one lineup that won had a bunch of defenses because there wasn't any points scored, right? So it was defense and kickers that basically took these things down. Important to know, you can literally have the kickers and then 2 of the same defense or 1 of each, and it's not the player, it's not the individual defensive player. You are choosing their defense.
I'll tell you what, man, Buda Baker is going to look pretty good tomorrow night.
Good.
Because Jameis loves to throw a couple picks every now and then.
Yeah, absolutely. So, if I was choosing a defense, I'm going to go for the absolute cheapest. And honestly, it doesn't matter if they're injured reserve or out. It literally means nothing. Okay? So, Cam Jordan looks like it's $2. Okay? LB, okay, so we got D. Davis was $189. Lattimore, again, Lattimore is out, but it doesn't matter. If I chose Lattimore and bought him for $1.88 and put him in there, and obviously you probably want to get the lowest edition if you really want to win this thing, okay, if you think that's going to happen, then you would choose Lattimore. It doesn't matter he's out because you're not actually getting his stats. You're getting the Saints' defensive stats. And you can have multiple of that. Key. All right. I believe being in a dome, Arizona is a very fast field. It's just the way it's built, okay? It is set for a very high-scoring game. Is that going to happen? I don't know. We're going to look at odds and different things like that on, obviously not on this podcast, but to determine if that is going to change. But in my mind, I have to believe that Amazon needs to get their viewership back, and it's going to be a very high-scoring game. All right. With that being said, you're going to have Kyler Murray. So we're going to go ahead and plug in Kyler Murray here. Obviously, see, I've got number 3 Genesis. Okay. I purchased that probably 3 or 4 weeks ago. We know Brown's out, and he's a wide receiver. So you're not going to get any Brown points because he's out. Like, just don't put him in there. Okay. It's not like a defense.
Yep.
All right.
And
Michael Thomas is out.
Jarvis Landry's
Looks
out.
Like
I think
Winston
Jameis is back.
Is he back? All right. So check this out. while I'm live with you right now,
Let me.
I'm going to go ahead and purchase the
Let me
Jameis Winston.
confirm with my other source here. Jameis. There's not a Q or anything, man. He is in there like swimwear. They're projecting him 0.
All right.
Still recovering from multiple injuries. It appears unlikely to return to lead the Saints offense in week 7 against Arizona. So he should have an O or a Q next to his name. I don't know. So Taysom Hill, Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton is the one. He's projected for 12.96 by one of my sources here. So he's gonna get the nod.
Okay. So if we believe that it's going to be a very high scoring game, well, for that to happen, number one, you're going to have Hopkins. You're probably going to have Murray because Murray is a video game. Okay. I know they only play the second half. I get it. If you've watched any football this year, the Cardinals play the second half. They don't play the first half. I don't know what happens. I don't know why. It's just kind of how it is. So, with that being said, use that as you will. Let's say you go Andy Dalton. Okay. So I have an Andy Dalton. Looks like I have a core 160. If I wanted to buy another one, I could. I would just go to shop and just purchase. Okay. So let's say we're going to do Andy Dalton. And again, you can see the numbers 9, 3, and 160. If this lineup wins, they're going to add all of these together. If it's a tie, because it very likely could be, and whoever has the lowest overall number wins
Contest. Right.
that level. So if it's first and I tie with first, right? If we're tied, which is very easy to do in Showdown, especially with only 4 players, okay? If we're tied, whoever has the lower number,
It's almost designed
tie.
to tie, like to make ties a little more likely so that it will incentivize, so it drives traffic toward those lower numbers.
Bingo. Exactly. Now, we're going to show after I choose this last one here, okay? After I choose this last player just to kind of throw in, I'm going to show you what happened last week. In fact, REIGNMAKERS on Twitter actually showed a video of it and did a post. They did a tweet. And, it said, oh, man, how did they tie? There was a tie, and it wasn't even the same group. Never seen that before. We'll talk about that and show that in a second. All right, so if we have Andy Dalton, and let's say, for instance, we know Thomas is out. Olave is due for a big game.
Kamara, I tell you what,
Kamara,
he's been going for over 100 yards,
Hill,
but he hasn't found the end zone the last 2 games.
Correct. So does he
One could
find
only
the end
imagine.
zone this time? He may. He may. So let's say we want to go with.
You got Traquan Smith and Marquez Callaway if you really want to reach for a wild one. You got Mark Ingram.
Man. And Smith didn't he get a touchdown? He got a touchdown last week.
3 receptions, 43, 1 touchdown.
Yep. I'm going to go with Olave here. And
I saw
Marketplace. I can purchase
AJ Green. He's a bargain too. But man, there's so many mouths to feed on that Arizona offense.
Yeah, I'm gonna look at that. So I'm just gonna go with one that I have in here, and I may edit it. Okay. Then this would be it. So if I'm gonna submit this lineup, so basically I have the top wide receiver, and both quarterbacks. I think it's gonna be a high-scoring game. Fast field. I've got my one superstar, right? Oh, is Hopkins not even considered a superstar?
Don't tell if you're in Houston, cover your ears.
Man, wow. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and submit this lineup. So here we go. Okay, so now that's one of my lineups. You can see the total prizes. First place gets $1,000, and it cost me nothing because I had the same balance. It's pretty great. Even if I'm up there and I get paid $25, $30 for doing something that cost me nothing to get into it, where else are you going to find that? Granted, yes, you have to own the NFTs. Yes, you have to buy the NFTs, and you have to put them in your lineup. Facts. But the thing is you can use them as long as they play for the National Football League. They're yours. Well, I mean, honestly, they're yours after that. And there may be like value, that they're going to perceive with like the Hall of Fame players. I'm not sure. But while they're on the field and while they're playing in the NFL, you can use those NFTs to put in these contests to win money, prizes, and more NFTs.
There you go, man. Imagine having like a LaDainian Tomlinson or an Adrian
Hey,
Peterson rookie card, or even heck, even a Frank Gore, and just riding that train for 15 years.
right?
Maybe it'll be Nick Chubb or something
Yep,
next.
right. So, another thing is, what? Okay, let's go back to lobby, and let's go ahead and go to
Right.
Sunday's
And
games.
finally,
Right.
everybody who's been
So
complaining about
Sunday's
Carson
games.
Wentz gets to see Taylor Heineke get a start. I've been wanting to see what he can do. So that's going to be fun. He might open up the whole Washington offense. You got De'Ami Brown out there, Scary Terry, Logan Thomas might pop. Curtis Samuel's liable to get some.
Mm-hmm.
Curtis Samuel's the most heavily targeted Washington receiver, and it's not close. Then you got J.D. McKissick coming out of the backfield. I mean, Antonio
It's not
Gibson's kind of
close.
fading into the wallpaper. And who's our new guy? James Robinson Jr. the third. Let me see. Washington.
For
Yep.
For you're talking about
Let's see.
for the Commanders. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Brian Robinson. Boy,
Yep.
I butchered that. Brian Robinson Jr. There we go. Okay. Yeah, so I think they're going to
There
make
we
him
go.
the bell
There we
cow
go.
back, and then McKissick's going to be passing down stuff, and Antonio Gibson's going to be reduced to, like, the Lindale White role when Reggie Bush was in New Orleans. Or he's going to be like Antonio Gibson might be like
Oh wow.
Zeke, not Zeke. Zeke gets too much snap count. So I don't know, but yeah, Gibson apparently he's old news now. He's young. I mean, I hope maybe they'll trade him.
It's crazy, man. He's got to be traded. Like, I mean, if
Because
that's the
yeah,
case,
I had Gibson was my keeper
Gibson is still a good player.
in another league because I got him the year before. By the way, if you want one way to think about these Rainmakers, it's a keepers league on steroids. You know, that's it. Kind of like clicked in my head one day. I was like, oh damn, yeah.
I like that.
So yeah, man. But they said Antonio they're just paring down his role, and he's losing snap count, and he's losing to J.D. McKissick, and then this Brian Robinson's coming back, and he's not going to get work anymore. So I mean, he's got. If you look at his rushing attempts, Robinson caught up with him in like 2 weeks. Oh wait, sorry, I'm looking at last 4 weeks season total. His rushing attempts, okay, he's out carried Antonio Gibson 61, McKissick 19, Robinson 26, and then Jonathan Williams 6. So, yeah. So what other games we got, Dennis?
Wow. Yeah. So right here, I'm gonna show something real quick. So people are gonna wonder what this is. Okay. This right here is the packs. So, meaning if you are in the top, if you're in the green, okay, and if you play DraftKings, you know what I'm talking about. There's the green line, all right. If you're in the green, you're either gonna win money or money only, or you're gonna win money and a pack, meaning one of these 2,000, okay. which is a prize pack, which basically it's opened up. You go to My Cards, you hit packs, and it'll actually show you the that you got a free NFT because you played the game, right? Or no money and just a pack. All good things. Again, it's costing you nothing to actually play the game. So, we're going to open up for next Sunday right here, okay? And again, this is going to be the one that most people are going to play. It's 5,000 the first. There's already 5,100 entries in there, okay? And we're going to go ahead and open it up. Okay, now, here, you have quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, and then you have flex. Now, the flex can be, I believe the flex can be a kicker. It can also be a defense. Pretty confident on that. Let me see something. Yeah, so it can be kicker or a defense. Okay? This is the only time you can play a kicker or a defense in a core matchup, which is like for all Sunday. Like for all day, without the Sunday night football game. All right, so we're going to go to quarterback. So obviously, there's a lot of quarterbacks that are out this week. Josh Allen.
I think the
right,
Rams are on a bye.
There's a few others as well.
The Eagles are on a bye. Rams, Eagles, Bills, and
so Hurts is out.
Hang on. I'll get it.
So, yeah. So last week, and I'll show you the lineup in just a second, Burrow took it down. And I knew he was going to take it down. Man, I knew he was coming back home to New Orleans. I'm like, he's going to go off. That's exactly what happened. Him and Chase absolutely took it down, for sure. All right, now, you got to look at what's happening here. Atlanta and recent apparently can play because they put more points on the Niners than the Niners have seen all season.
Niners defense is banged up, though.
That shocked
a couple people were calling for the Falcons were taking the points on that one. I will note that. I think Colin Cowherd was one of those ones that was banging on the table.
True.
Yeah, he was saying Atlanta will at least get within, sniffing distance or whatever. And he said, I'll take the points on that one because the Niners, Bosa's out, I think their secondary is a little banged up. But, yeah, they were like, well, the Falcons been kind of sneaky. It could happen.
So we're going to talk about Superstar and how that works. If you go down here, you can only have one Superstar in this matchup. So that's important to know, okay? Now, if you think about what Mariota did last week against San Francisco, what do you think Mahomes is going to do against San Francisco?
Where is that game? Okay. So we got...
It's in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Something to think about, right? Now, you have a division game, Cleveland at Baltimore. Lamar Jackson. Oh, boy. Look at this. This looks like a major target for me.
The Cowboys.
Detroit, fresh off of getting 0 points. Oh, boy. And then the Cowboys last week almost coming back, like starting to do some things. Man.
He's supposed to be
Dak
back.
Come back next week.
Vikings, Rams, Bills, Eagles, Vikings on a bye.
Right?
Sorry.
So, okay, yeah. So, where's Prescott? Let me see something. Prescott, right here. Yeah. So, okay.
That's a circle.
This game right here.
Mm-hmm.
This could be This could be a sneaky high scoring.
You know what?
Could be.
I will share my personal theory on this.
Mm-hmm.
As far as high scoring goes, I don't think the Lions are going to score too much on Dallas's defense, who's going to be mad after they just got the floor mopped, after Philly just mopped the floor with them. They're going to come out mad. And then Dallas on the offensive side, they're going to start scoring, and then I think they'll take their foot off the pedal. And then unless unless Detroit gets a touchdown or two under their belt. I don't know if they'll have a reason to. Amon-Ra St. Brown might get loose for one like Cooper Kupp did a couple weeks ago against Dallas, but I don't know. I'm not. I've called for Dallas to blow the effing doors off a couple teams this year, and it just doesn't happen. They just don't have it in them. They're not a Kansas City or a Buffalo. They're not going to blow you out. So that's one man's humble opinion.
Sure, absolutely. So I want to make sure everybody's fully aware. Detroit, even with the 0 points against
New
God,
England.
I can't believe he got 0 points. 0 points against New England. In New England, right? It was 26-0. They still have more points than anybody in the entire NFL. So I want you to think about that. Even with scoring 0 points last week. All right. They're averaging, if you X out the 0 points last week, I think they're averaging over 30 points a game. And in Dallas, in a dome, right? Goff coming off of 0 points, knowing that Detroit's offense has been absolutely on fire. Okay. I don't know. It kind of seems sneaky to me. I'm going to look at some of the lines. For those that are bettors out there, you know what I'm talking about. So I'm going to take a look and see how that's going to flow. But could possibly be a sneaky play. So something to look at there. Now, obviously, another one is this guy right here,
You're number
Geno
5.
Smith. Boy, he's been special, hasn't he? Uh, wow. So he's playing the Chargers in LA. I don't know. That was a really low-scoring game the other night. But Seattle is they've been scoring a ton of points constantly. So I'm gonna share. People are watching this are like, why does that even matter? You want to go where the points are gonna go. You want to go with whoever. Like sometimes you can look at a stack. If you play DraftKings a lot, you see people stacking games. That is because when one team is scoring a lot and the other team has to battle back and score a lot, it winds up being a high-scoring game because obviously, and you want to have those high-scoring players on that team. Even the $3,300 player on like regular DraftKings could absolutely go off on a high-scoring game, and then you got more than double the triple the value for that. So you want to really target any game that you feel is just going to just blow up, just crazy. Okay.
Yeah, and
let's see here.
when usually one team gets out in
Indianapolis
front, it could be like the running back of the dominant team that would be going nuts, and then obviously once they get out 35-3 or something like that, you have what's called a negative game script with the team that's losing, and they just say F it and start we got to make something happen, and they start throwing the ball down the field, and so you get the quarterback and the receivers of the losing team or the non-dominant team getting what we call garbage time points, empty calories or whatever. If you're a Cowboys fan, you've seen enough of that the last 2-3 years.
Yeah. What do you think about this Green Bay at Washington game with Heineke out there?
No,
Heineke's not a bad quarterback. We
tell you
saw
what,
him.
he'll sneak up on
We've
you.
seen him
I don't know
play.
if he's a
not a bad
franchise
QB.
quarterback, but he can get you. He can jump up and bite anybody, on any given Sunday. He's one of those guys. I don't know what's going on with Wentz.
He sure can.
And Carson Wentz, he had his heyday. I don't know what happened. He got some demons or something like that, but he's in some kind of funk. Obviously, he's not playing up to his talent level, but I think Heineke is going to be like a breath of fresh air, and maybe the team will react to him. And maybe a lot of things are obviously going to happen that don't happen when Carson's there, and the other teams are going to have to try to dig up some film on Heineke, and I just don't think they're going to be that prepared. I think De'Ami Brown could eat. He could get loose. McLaurin could eat. What are they playing? Green Bay? I don't know, man. Green Bay. I don't even consider Green Bay a well-coached team, but they have dignity. And I think after what the New York Jets came and beat the brakes off of them and put on the Jets Sauce Gardner, one of their cornerbacks was wearing a cheese hat around Lambeau Field. Green Bay is going to come in here mad. So I don't think they're going to get whooped or anything. I would say they'll probably win.
Am I am I
No,
crazy to think that lightning could strike twice?
I mean, the Green Bay could be the league could be
I'm
figuring
not,
out,
right?
this Matt LaFleur magic or something.
I'll tell you what I'm going to choose right here. So anybody who's watching this, they're going to literally see my lineup, like right now.
I've got him in one of
I'm
my
choosing Joe Burrow.
non-Rainmakers leagues, and he's been doing. I tell you what, sneaky secret. The
Choosing
last
it.
4 weeks, Joe Burrow's the number 2 quarterback in the NFL. Because he had
That
that
is some sneaky
appendectomy. He had that
Because
appendectomy to start the year. He
he's
missed a bunch. He didn't take a snap in
yeah.
preseason. I think he missed some training camp or something, and he had to shake the rust off like the first couple weeks of the season. But man, he is picking up steam. Watch out. In Cincinnati, they're not star-studded. They don't have a Marshawn Lattimore. They don't have they don't have a Sauce Gardner. They don't have a Jalen Ramsey. They don't have a Von Miller or a Aaron Donald, but they got a real defense, man. So the Bills were getting high on their own supply
Yeah,
early in
they
the
do.
year, and they tripped and fell a couple times. And I mean, the Bills could very well make a run at the Super Bowl, and they will. But don't forget about Cincinnati.
Not at all. I'm going to go ahead and put Chase in here, man.
What'd Chase do last
I
week?
think it's going to strike twice.
Okay.
Happened last week. Absolutely crushed it. 2 touchdowns, like over 100 yards.
Mm.
He was in the optimal. So I'm gonna say Burrow was in the optimal and Chase was in the optimal. Okay. So, and for those who know, what happened last week
Oh yeah.
will not happen to me again. I had this one in there last week.
Oh man.
Yeah, that's what caused me to lose the tie.
What number is it? Did you get him out of a
Yeah.
pack or something?
Yeah, yeah. So pretty good stuff.
Dude, those yeah.
Yeah. He was just out of a pack. So I bought number 5. I don't know. It's probably like $75. Honestly, realizing what happened didn't mean anything to me. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna make sure that never happens again. So I'm gonna think lightning's gonna strike twice against with these guys. So I'm gonna go and do that. Now you see, I've got my quarterback and I have my superstar. So therefore, I cannot choose another superstar player. So now I have to get another. So I have to get a running back. I cannot choose Eckler because he has a superstar on him. So now we got to think about
Where's
who
the
is gonna
superstar?
have
Is that just a
an
star out to the
amazing
right of their
game
name?
out of all these guys.
Okay. I'm looking at a teeny tiny
Yep.
phone screen because my computer could not hang today. So Henry
Henry against
Derrick
the Colts
Henry?
defense.
Colts defense.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's Derrick Henry. The Colts. No.
He hasn't really had a breakout game yet. He's had one that's kind of went off.
Dang man,
Right?
this thing's
wait,
starting
he's
to
a
tighten
superstar.
up.
I can't choose him. Never mind.
So here's a question: how does Derrick Henry normally do against the Colts?
Well, when I went to, I can actually go to my contests. Let's go to Daily Fantasy. And let's go to,
Ooh,
let's just
dang.
do one. Let's do,
He is usually well over 5 yards a carry. Yeah. So
against the Colts. Isn't that who he had a really good game of against
Yeah,
last
October
time they played?
2nd, he went 22 for 114 and a TD with 3 receptions for 33 yards and
Bang.
whatever.
He's gonna
Oh,
do it
five
again.
targets, 3 receptions, and
Yeah.
11 yards per catch.
Yeah.
So, yeah, let's see. 1, 2,
So I'm gonna go back. So he's gonna be in another one of my lineups, right? So
six,
Thursday.
6 out
Okay,
of
so we're gonna
13
go back
games against the
to
Colts,
Sunday.
he's broken 100 yards rushing. Yeah.
That's all I need to know.
Yeah, and he has rushing. He has
That tells me
3
that he's gonna go off.
November
So
29th,
I'm not gonna have him in
2020.
this lineup.
Are you sitting down? 27 for 178 and 3 touchdowns.
Oh yeah.
Can we get another game like that? How many fantasy points is that, dude? 17.8 plus
Man.
like 18, that's 35. And then you got PPR 37. Like, yeah, it's like almost 40 points.
So we're gonna definitely have to choose
Yeah.
Henry in one of these, right? I'm gonna go ahead and just show my cards only. So of the running backs, I have 27 to choose from. And I could put any of these guys in here. So Pierce is actually he's a good rookie. That's really coming on for Houston. I think he's going to continue
Pierce?
doing great. And as far as that goes,
You know where he's from?
Yeah, Damian Pierce,
The University of Florida.
the running back.
Yeah, man.
Where's
Yeah, dude, I watched him last year.
Is he
here at the
really?
Swamp. I'm in Gainesville,
Wow.
Florida, for those of y'all who don't know. And we were playing last year. I said, I turned to, Mona. She's getting her master's there, and I said, honey, I don't know about this Emory Jones guy, but I tell you what, that running back, he's the real deal.
Yeah.
I like him. I watched him against Alabama, and he was good against Alabama. So that tells you all you need to know there. But yeah, Damian Pierce, man, Gators. Him, Kyle Pitts, Evan McPherson, Elam in the Bills secondary. There's a few out there, man.
Yeah.
Gator Nation.
You know who I'm probably going to really look at?
Disarray.
Carolina is
just, oh my God.
They're just dismantled. Guess who does, like, when teams are just bad and they're just like not practicing and just not doing good and just all messed up? Guess who really has good games?
Okay.
The opposing running back. Because the line is just distraught, right? And what happens is he's in full season form.
We're going to see playoff Lenny's going to come out early. Huh? Regular season Lenny.
That's right. Absolutely. Tom is just mad about what happened last week. Now, granted, you're very well aware, I called that like a book.
I
was like, Steelers.
I'm surprised Trubisky finished that thing off, man. Once
started.
Pickett went out, I was like, oh boy.
Oh yeah. So, now, we have wide receiver or tight end. And I still don't understand, but whatever. He won it for me last week. Kelsey is not considered a superstar.
Yeah.
Who I don't even. This?
No words.
Wow, right? He's like only the
Mark
number
Andrews,
one tight end.
But yeah, I think he has the edge on Mark Andrews right now.
Hey. Right. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
I mean, he's basically a plug and play every week. I can't see why, even against San Francisco's defense, and like what, Pitts had a good game last week, right? And obviously Kelsey is completely a different animal. So let's say you put Kelsey
if he's not a superstar, man, you pretty much don't have a choice. That's a no-brainer. It's a freebie.
I know, right? Yeah. So now you have a flex. So you have one more guy you can put in here who you think is going to have a really good game.
Could.
Amron St. Brown against
He
Dallas's
could get
defense.
loose.
That's what he's going
Maybe.
to be
I
going
mean, they
against
could have
Diggs, huh?
Josh. They could have digs on Josh Reynolds. They could have
Or
digs
do you like
on.
Pittman?
Man, I'll tell you what. To Detroit, Detroit's got some sleeper wide receivers in there. Let me look. Let me see what we got going on here. Detroit. Boom. Josh Reynolds, Amon-Ra, Khalif Raymond. I think he hadn't done a damn thing. Never mind. Chark. He hadn't done a lot, but Chark is a guy that can do stuff. Quintez Cephas, who he's on IR, but he popped a few times last year. Yeah, that's about it, man. Aside from Josh Reynolds and Amon-Ra St. Brown, there is not a lot going on. TJ Hawkinson for the
How's
Lions, by the way.
Baltimore's
Baltimore's
rush
rush
defense
D? I don't know. Let's see. Who's
How good are
who
they
playing
against
this
the,
week?
rushing?
The Browns. Okay.
Nick Chubb.
Let's see. The Browns are 20. They're 10th. They're 10th best against the run, so they're like top third. And I think that's going to get better. Baltimore's one of those come up late.
What
teams.
about
Indianapolis is going to. Yeah, they got to get warmed up.
They are. They sometimes they just.
What about
sneak in
what?
There. Well, if we think that Henry's going to have a good game, then you're going to have to throw Pittman in on the other side because they're going to be down, right? So we're going to throw Pittman in here. We're going to run with his lineup. I like that lineup. So you got Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and Kelsey, which was my starting lineup last week that won it. We're going to battle it back.
We're
going to put Fournette in there, and we're going to take Pittman. Fournette, because Carolina is in disarray, they got all types of problems.
What are your thoughts
and Pittman because
on Pittman versus Alec Pierce this week?
Oh, man, I've got a lot of
Pierce. Came out of nowhere.
I got like 6 of his cards. I think Pierce, absolutely, yeah. And he's one of those, when you think about it, and that's going to really be like the next segment, right? So I'm going to go ahead and submit this lineup. Put this here. So when you think about the next segment, if we're shopping for cards, who should we buy, right? Should we buy the guy that only has a few years left in the league? No, right? Unless you just know he's going to go off for the next 2 years and it's worth it for you to do that, absolutely, sure. But if it's somebody that's on their way out, I probably wouldn't buy that card. I'm gonna buy a rookie that's really not well known. I'm gonna buy somebody who is who I feel that their stock is just going up. If their stock's going up, I'm purchasing that card, right? I may pull an elite. I'll tell you what I did. I will show you this. And Tom, I actually remember when I told you about, do you think I'm crazy for doing it?
Pittsburgh.
And then now he's the starter.
It was always going to happen. He was always going to be the starter.
Pittsburgh Steelers, right? It was always going to happen. It was just nobody was thinking about it, and I was able to get the elite number 1 for $500. It just made sense, right? Now they have that same card for number 7 for $750 or something like that. So, if you win from playing the game, you actually go over here to packs, and it would actually show you at that point right here if you have any prize packs. You click it, open it up, and there you go. So Yeah, man. So just really kind of going through everything and how it really works, getting everybody set up and understanding what Rainmakers is, the importance of it. At the end of the day, it is NFTs combined with fantasy football, and it gives you a chance to, once you own the NFTs and you put them into play, you have them forever, and you put them into play as long as you want. Those contests are free,
Yeah.
and you can win money. I mean, and everything else. So it's kind of like, okay, so if you know football, you purchase the right
I mean,
people,
you
put
don't
them
even
in
have to
there,
win. Just like you getting
go
the money a few times,
make
if you
money.
know what you're doing, your guys are gonna hit, and you're pretty
No,
much playing with
absolutely, yeah. 10, 15, $25 here and there. Like, hey, all that is
house money,
passive, man. You didn't do anything to, like,
playing
it's
with house
done.
money.
So house money. That's right.
So
That's it.
guys like Brees
That's it.
Hall,
Um,
he's just popped for like a couple of games right now. Let me see. Let me look at him. Whoa, God. Okay, he's popped for 3 consecutive games, and he is popped hard. So if you're gonna get something like him, Dennis, where do you think we're at in the arc of Brees Hall's NFT price journey?
oh, sure. Absolutely. So let's look, because
You
you
know,
know what? Honestly, I
because
don't even have any of him,
these
and I should.
the Jets are one of
So,
those teams in
Brees.
fantasy. I just normally stay the hell away because the organization is normally like a dumpster fire, and I'm like, nope, not getting into that.
Hmm.
But I tell you what, man, Robert Saleh has got these guys going,
Right.
and he's the new. It was Brian Flores last year and the year before. Man, he's got these guys wound up, and he's watching them go, and they look like a real team. Look at that. Go look at that Jets defense. Go look. They're putting up points,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah. Absolutely. So, Brees Hall right here.
Right. So let's
Just
check
showing you some
a
cards that
core
are
a core
available.
genesis. Let's say we get like a good core for him,
You got,
which I feel like the good core is going to be for like the casual. Maybe the casual guys will go for like the. Oh, he's not out yet. Oh,
he's not
right.
there because he wasn't
Oh,
Genesis.
right, right.
Not for
Okay.
no, he won't be for
Okay,
Genesis
so he's
because he
a
wasn't there.
field pass core.
Hmm. So you got
Any core? What's a core booster?
nope. You have
Prize
prize
set. That's
set.
the one with the confetti.
You have
Okay,
momentum, and
that's
you have
probably what
elevate.
out of what 600 or okay, yeah. So I feel like core is
Yep.
like where your guys go that would do like the DFS contest for like $1 or $3, and I feel like the people who've been in the game for a minute and are crossing over from like a traditional fantasy to Rainmakers are going to settle into the lower priced but like the low edition, smartly priced rare tier is going to be where a lot of people settle in because elite seems like where you go after you've got a few wins under your belt. Core seems like where you get if you're dipping a toe in or you're kind of a more casual guy. But I think rare is where people are going to kind of enter.
Yeah.
When you start seeing more people come into this space.
Absolutely. I agree. I agree with that. Like, I have a ton of core cards just because it made sense, and I had a few big wins, and it was just like, this is new, this is fresh, this makes sense to me. So that's the reason why I kind of went crazy on the core, because I wanted to be as many contests as possible, to go ahead and stack, to go ahead and get to that level where I can start getting those rares and those elites. Unless something just makes sense, like the Kenny Pickett #1 for 500, I'm like, that makes sense
So
to me.
you have
That
yours is
easily could
one
be
of
worth
one.
$100,000 in 2 years, right? Um,
Oh, then okay. Damn.
yeah, the
Okay,
number
I didn't
one,
realize you got #1.
right? Exactly. #1. Yeah. Right here. Yeah. So that's the reason why I splurged on it. I was like,
You're
That
still on the
looks
Brees Hall screen, by the
really
way.
cheap. So
Okay.
yeah. So here we go. My
There you go.
cards.
Is that it? Top left? Is that him? It's weird how they have them wearing like colored
Right
shirts that
here.
they're
Yeah,
never
right here.
wearing. Sometimes.
So I know. So number 1, Elite, Elevate.
Yeah, and so we
Got that one right there.
you went over the prize tiers, right? I
And
think I
when
was
you
having trouble
go,
with the headphones, where like if you sort by prize and look at the highest ones, it's all like rare and elite tier or legendary and rainmakers, right? And so the higher cards get you to the higher prizes. I don't know what that. Did you tell us what the M100 and M25, those M numbers in the rectangles were?
yeah. So you know what? That's exactly right. Well, that was we actually breezed over that.
Because
So
yeah, when I'm
let's
just
go back to
looking
that
at
real quick.
this
Hold on
sheet,
1 second here.
that's one of the things I haven't gone down the rabbit hole yet, if you will. But everybody I might as well learn along with everybody else.
Perfect. So right here, M1, single entry.
So what's the
Meaning you get
M4?
1 entry. That's it.
Max? Okay. So I can do 100 entries on this one, and I can do
Max.
50 entries.
Yep, that's it.
Oh, so the rectangle's the number of what I can do,
3 on
and
this
then
one.
the other number is how many people are in and how many people can be in. Okay, so they're mostly uncapped here, but then I can
how
do
many entries?
101 or 100 or 20 just by myself.
Correct.
Okay, right. Now when you see,
Right. And that's where it's like you start stacking, man. You could easily like, all right, well, if I want to do a whole bunch of these, then I just put all my players in there, and you can look
and
at
so
your contest.
I see
what
cash,
happened.
and then I see the little cube with one green side that's a pack,
Um,
and then when it says tickets, what is a ticket?
So a ticket is where so if you play DraftKings Daily Fantasy,
Yep.
you see my screen right now, right? My contests, and I'm scrolling down. Okay. All right. So Daily Fantasy, that's where you would go to your DraftKings, and you're going to win a ticket, and you can use that ticket to play one of the
okay.
$3 lineups, $5 lineups, whatever.
All right, so they're doing a little cross pollination.
So let's go. Right. Let's go to what happened. Where are we here? Right here. Bang. This one. All right.
I got you. Yep, we're circling back around to a certain video, I think.
Okay. All right.
And second,
Placed
you say?
second of 2K, right? Second. Exactly. But the deal is I was also first. Look at this craziness. And it wasn't even the same lineup. So you have MJ, PJ, RY910, the 21th of his. Okay. Getting 151.80 with a completely different lineup. We had the same 3 cores here. And then he had Andrews and Pittman. Okay. His tiebreaker was 27.56. They added all this up. They added 101, 426, 349, 1613, and 267. And that's what equaled the tiebreaker. All right. You go down over here. My stuff looked good. Except
you had that one janky ass Joe Burrow card in there.
Bro. Just threw me off. Right here. Yep. So if you would have, let's say this would have been like 500.
Right. I try.
Honestly, man, I really only go for like under 100s now. So Yeah, so if it's at all possible, especially after seeing what that happened there, I'm like, man, I ain't gonna let that happen again. So because that would have been double the money, man. It would have been instead of 1,000, would have been two. You know. So hey, man, 2,000, 2,000. Any way you look at it. So yeah, there you go. Really important if you can get the lower tiers. If the money is there and it makes sense and you're pretty confident that you're gonna win it, go ahead and splurge. Um, don't get tied. And again, it's crazy because it's not even the same lineup. That's what throws it all off. It'd be different if it's the same lineup. It's a different lineup, and they literally scored exactly 151.80.
What are the odds?
Crazy. So. Well,
That's a great note to end on, I think.
I think that about does it. Uh, yeah. This was obviously our introduction. Really kind of, got out there to let people, understand what Rainmakers is, get a good solid grasp of what it does. Talked about some games, talked about some options and what we think is going to happen. Even put a few lineups in there so people can really just kind of gauge at what we're thinking, and even through some possible game breaking
Yeah, I think so
information out
too,
there.
man.
So I think we've done well. All right. Well, guys, check back next week. We'll be here. We're recording it every Wednesday night, so we're gonna figure out how to get it up here and all that stuff. But check back every week before you set your lineups on Thursday, and we'll have information. Um, we'll have a quick overview of what Rainmakers is, probably for the first 2 minutes of every show while people start understanding what it is, and then we'll get into what happened last week, and then what's the games coming up for this week to get you set up for your lineups, to
There we
get you
go.
to make money
That's what it's all
and
about,
hopefully
man.
change your
The
lives for the
inaugural
positive.
episode in the books.
All right, that's it in the books. Have a good one, guys. Let's all win.